Hey guys, and welcome back to our Riviera Partners Realty IG Live weekly series, International Luxury Real Estate Experts. Our guest today is Joshua Deitch, high-end top broker from Mill Valley in California. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be getting Joshua online with us any minute now. While we're waiting for Joshua to join us today, as we've mentioned before, our objective with the International Luxury Real Estate Experts show and series that we're now doing every week from a different location. This week again, we're here inside Punta Mita, the amazing gated residential community with the Four Seasons in St. Regis. Our objective with the International Luxury Real Estate Experts show and series for you guys and sharing it is to bring to you up-to-date information and market conditions in different geographical areas through our strategic partnerships with top brokers and agents all over the US with Compass. Compass, as you know, most probably is the largest independent real estate company in the US today, with somewhere around $89 billion of real estate sales in 2019. And with investors, developers, and hoteliers, we'll be sharing with you more what's going on around the US, here in Mexico, in Canada, and maybe around the world as this series continues. Good morning, Joshua. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Doing great, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So nice to have you here with us today. Well, I'm also here in the house with my partner and friend, Wally Lopez.
Hello everyone, great to be here, and today we're doing this live show from a very spectacular house. As you can see, we're located in the residential community of Lagos del Mar within Punta Mita. The house name is Villa Luna Nueva. That is where we are, and let me put some pictures so everybody can see this property, and we'll tell you something about it. The design was done by Jose Vigil from Mexico City. This is a 5-bedroom, 5.5 bathroom home with a total construction of 11,474 square feet and 6,684 air-conditioned space. It's located on a half-an-acre home site. Incredible common areas, terraces, pool areas, as you can see. Great amenities. The living and dining kitchen area space is very well designed, allows you to connect with everybody, no matter if you're in the covered terrace, outside, inside. It's a very easy living house. It's just spectacular. Very elegant and easy living. We really want to stay here after the show because it's so great. Back to Jonathan. Well, as we mentioned, our special guest today is Joshua Deitch. Joshua's a new friend of ours from California. He's a top broker with Compass and is located in Mill Valley, California. We recently co-hosted a great event in San Francisco together with over 200 people in attendance. That was fun. It was just a few days before the whole COVID-19 thing took off there in the US and here too in Mexico. We're happy to have Joshua join us here today, and he's going to share with us what is happening in his area relative to COVID-19, the ongoing reopening process that's ongoing at this time, and current market conditions, and much more. Welcome to the show, Joshua.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And it looks beautiful over in Punta Mita over there. And can I make an offer on that house?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you take cash, non-contingent, call it a day?
We're going to be here soon, and you're right. Punta Mita is the most incredible gated residential community in Mexico today, in our belief. There's so much going on around this area. As you know, there's the Suras of Corazon, the Auberge just next door, and so many other things that we're involved with and representing. But definitely Punta Mita, where we are today, with the two signature Jack Nicklaus golf courses, Four Seasons, St. Regis. It has everything that anybody would need. So this house is available. Yes, Joshua, you can buy it.
Well, honestly, I just booked my flights this morning for going out there.
Perfect. We're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Likewise, likewise.
I'll pass it on.
Hey, Joshua, Wally. Good to see you.
Likewise.
And thank you for your time, by the way.
Oh, happy to be here.
So you booked your flights to come down to Mexico. Excellent.
I did. I'm very excited.
Fantastic. Last time we saw you, as Jonathan mentioned, was in early March. So now we're slowly coming out of this lockdown and getting back to the new normal. So we're happy to be starting to work and talking to people.
Yeah, it's definitely a different reality these days, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So Joshua, we have prepared some questions and topics to discuss, as Jonathan mentioned. So the way we're going to do it is I'll start the first question and I'll switch over to Jonathan and back and forward. So we make it that kind of dynamic. Of course, keeping the distance, as we have to follow pretty much the rules these days, but that's the way we're going to do it. And if that okay, I'll start with the first question.
Shoot.
Okay, so tell us, how are you seeing things in your area now with the COVID-19 situation? Are things start to open up more now once again?
Well, as it relates to real estate, it's been a really interesting experience. I mean, once the shelter in place launched in California, everybody was obviously in lockdown. And, in the real estate market and procedures and logistics really got dense. And, we're all literally day to day, it was changing. We can do this. Now we can't do that. No, we have to do it this way. Now we need these special forms to show a house and what have you. And so, on a real estate agent and brokerage level, it's been a learning curve, and it's almost like a new way of doing business. And for me, I love challenges, so I was accepting the challenge, and I always try to find the gift in all of it. And to me, there's been not that there's a gift in a pandemic, but the gift in how to navigate through this. And I found that this experience has slowed everybody down and brought a lot of intention and focus into people's exploration of property. And so I would say the landscape here in Mill Valley, there is what trended and what we thought originally was, okay, things at 2 million and under are flying off the shelf still, not impacted by COVID. And I think the reason why is because if you still have a couple $100,000 for a 20% down payment, it's still under a $2 million price range or under. It still makes sense to buy versus rent because interest rates are so low. So that was a really, self-explanatory phenomena of why is COVID not affecting the $2 million price range, if you will. And what we anticipated and thought we would see is a real slowdown in the high end range, anything $4 plus $5-6 million range. And we all kind of braced ourselves for the possibility of this kind of downturn and softness and many days on market in the higher end real estate, of which I've have a bunch of listings on. And we started educating our clients on it and what have you. And what we've seen evolve since, let's say, shelter in place, and as things are loosening up, we're noticing a kind of big shift from San Francisco buyer owners, and they're kind of being cooped up in the city. And and San Francisco's undergone some, whether it's being cooped up in their apartment or their flat or their condo with no outdoor space, and the city being vacant. I think those that were on the fence about, hey, one day I'm going to move from the city with my kids to Marin, that was in the kind of the seed was planted phase. Now it's like it hyper accelerated that process. And they're like, you know what? We want out of the city. We want a dog. We want a yard. We want sun. We want, a bigger space. And because, the possibility now of people working remotely from home, as you could see, I'm in my kid's bedroom now.
Yes.
Working, the working from home and family time and what have you. They're like, you know what, we should move to Mill Valley or Marin now. We don't need to wait. And so, and as a matter of fact, we want to beat that rush. We want to be ahead of the curve. And so what we found was almost a reverse paradox happening where all of a sudden the high end is become extremely active because a lot of those San Francisco buyers have these, more high price range homes. So they're, trading out of $4, $6, $8 million, and they can get a lot more house for $5 million than they can in San Francisco. I shouldn't say a lot more, but more features, if you will.
More features.
More lifestyle oriented, amenities and so forth. And so, over the last, and that phenomenon is really, really taking place, believe it or not, over the last 10 days. Now, this might be just my experience, and I deal with a lot of the high end in Mill Valley specific. This might be just my own experience, and so maybe it's contradictory to other people's experiences, but this is what I'm experiencing right now. I mean, I'd say over the last 10 days, I've put more high-end properties under contract in Mill Valley than I think ever in my career in such a concentrated period of time.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you. We live in a resort area, so we kind of seen that definitely the activity over the past days has definitely increased, and definitely people looking for more outdoor kind of safe haven type of places.
Correct. And then, we're so close to the beach. We're still, 14 minutes from the city, hiking, mountain biking, ocean. It kind of has it all, and at least in my opinion. And so you're right. It's people are now reflecting and looking at their lifestyles and evaluating, what are my values and how do I want to live. And I think that's repositioning their thoughts and ideas and their motives on what their next phase of life looks like for them.
Perfect. No, thank you for sharing that. I'll pass to Jonathan for the next question, Joshua.
Yeah, we're still doing the social distancing, as we said here too. So we're slowly coming out of it too, but we're seeing exactly the same as you're seeing, thankfully. I mean, really since the beginning of May, we've seen a real tendency of, changing and more interest again, as we've been saying. And I think it mirrors pretty much what you're seeing there. Our next question actually was about the tendencies and the differences that you're seeing. And I think that's what we're understanding as we look at you and other brokers that we're close to in Compass, is understanding people's ideas now of changing what they're looking for. Maybe our hope, obviously, is that will bring people also down here. They'll, want to get that place. Like here in Punta Mita, for instance, we've been anywhere between 3 and 4, almost up to 500 people sheltered here through this moment of time that we've had here on kind of lockdown and stay at home. So it's been interesting that people have chosen, as you said, in Mill Valley, it's kind of similar. They've chosen to be out of the city, or they're getting out of the city. And for here, I think we're seeing that too from the cities in Mexico, and also from our American, which is predominantly our clientele here, as you know, and specifically in your area, and Canadians, they kind of decided to stay here through this period. We have a phenomenal Punta Mita hospital here, is a phenomenal world-class medical facility in our area, just right here, literally 3 minutes or 4 minutes from where we are sitting right now. Started and created by a homeowner here actually in Lagos Del Mar, who has he's a doctor in Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills, and already the medical facilities here are phenomenal in Mexico, close to where we are. So I think all those things play more of a factor now, as you said. And I mean, our question, really, the next question was just that, what are you seeing in your tendencies and things like that? And I think you kind of already explained that. So maybe I'll just pass back to Wally for the next one.
Sorry for poaching the question.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. That's what we want to hear. We want to know what's going on. No, totally okay. So, Joshua, so by now, we know this will be a totally different recovery compared to, the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And as we know, the mortgage rate, and you mentioned it, they're quite attractive today. So do you see the real estate inventories in your area, and you feel the absorption rates will be maintained to what you were experiencing pre-COVID-19?
I think, it's a complicated question, and,
Yes.
Almost a crystal ball question, and I'll take a stab at it. I think,
Take it.
I think it goes like this for me. One is, I think there's the possibility, of course, of some level of a shift, downturn, major economical, turbulence. There's potential for that. I think we all know we don't understand quite the impacts that are possible as it relates to, shutting down the economy.
Yes.
And so I think the question, this approach is, when I have buyers right now, what I'm sharing with them is, hey, if this, well, what about the market, Josh? And they'll ask me, and what do you think, and so forth. And I think the approach is, for me, is I've been going to the hold on, someone just brought me some beautiful latte. I think the approach is, if you're going to buy this with the intention of being there 5+ years, this is more of a legacy type property. This isn't your, starter home where you're gonna only grow out of it in 2 years and ask to retrade it. As long as this is a longer term vision for you, I think you're in great position. I think it's impossible to predict, and I think the insulation for at least our market is inventory tends to be really limited, and so of course when you go to the basic dynamics of supply and demand and what have you, for example in 2009 and 10, we did find that we went through a dip in our values, but it was short lived, and still though the dip in the values really occurred to the homes that had a premium. Just be based on, I can't find anything for $1.6 million, $1.7 million, or 2.5. So I'll buy this fixer for that. But the houses that don't check all the boxes here in Marin, they're missing a garage, or there's 40 stairs up to the house, that might still get, in a good, healthy market, a really good price for it, right? What we found, or what I found in 2009, 10, is those are the houses that devalued and suffered through a downturn. But the houses that check all the boxes, I call it, storybook living, like you got your yard off the family room, you have your 2-car garage with storage that goes right into the kitchen and pantry. Like, when you have all those elements put together, that premium, might have reduced a little bit and adjusted a little bit, but you still got top dollar in a down market out here in Marin. So me personally, I'm cautiously optimistic. I definitely, it's one of those things that if you're going to get married, you better love the person, and that's kind of metaphorically how I see it right now. It's like, don't buy if this is like a 0 to 3 or 4 year hold. But if this is a long-term vision for you guys and it supports your family, I think it, even if we do go through a dip, but I think, to answer your question, that was on the, if you will, the customer acquisition side. But I think on our side, there's 2 factors at play that I see that are really key elements. And one is, there's so much financial liquidity out there. People have gone through their first and second rounds of home runs, if you will, because they invested in Twitter or Facebook or what have you, or early investors in startups that have since already had cashed out events. And so I think there's a ton of cash on the sidelines. But what I do worry about, besides interest rates, which I really just don't, understand the visibility of that, is really the stock market. I mean, I can't really explain why the stock market is so healthy right now, or seemingly so healthy. But at the same time, if this stock market manages to hold through this digestion of COVID and the impacts of it, I think we're great. But I think we're heavily tied into liquidity in stock market. So if the stock market holds and people see their balance sheets stay relatively healthy, they're feeling confident and comfortable.
Yeah, we agree with you, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I'll pass it on to Jonathan. Yeah, that's kind of how we're seeing it here too. I think we're very similar in our market conditions and what we're seeing. And I mean, furthermore to what you're saying and listening to what you're saying, obviously there's a huge amount of uncertainty still in the market, right? I mean, ultimately, we just don't know what's happening. We do have, like your experience in this sudden uptick in interest and exponential interest again in the last couple of weeks. How that will pan out in the next few months, we're not really sure. I mean, that's really our next question for you. With your experience in the market where you are and what you've seen in the last couple of weeks with kind of, I would say, more of a kind of V-shaped recovery, fast economic recovery, it seems. What's your perspective over the next 3, 6, 12 months as to listing properties and selling properties and how your specific market will recover?
I think that it kind of poached your question again. I think I think if there is no recovery if the stock market holds, I think we're in great shape and been in great shape. We definitely all got spooked. So it was such a temporary, if you will, such a temporary disconnect from the market that quickly all four wheels went back on the track again. I think over the next 3 months, barring no stock market crash, I think we stay healthy, and I think that's the vulnerable element that's really going to shape what happens in the next 3 to 6 months. You're seeing companies like Facebook at all times high, and you're seeing some retail like Restoration Hardware going from like its discounted price at 85 up to like 240, 250, and you go, why? But they must be doing a lot of online sales, I guess. I don't know. Me personally am, from an agent perspective, there's a little of like, I just love people and I love houses and property. And so I kind of stay away from a lot of the chatter and just stay at the high level of the landscape and not try to get and overanalyze. I think the bottom line is, as long as they're limited inventory, and as long as they're, and we have the benefit in Marin, at least, to have this kind of exodus of San Francisco coming into Marin, I think that supply-demand feature is going to be, keeping our market relatively insulated. And I know that's not immune to just Marin. I've heard other markets expressing the same thing, whether it be at Portland and what have you, that they share a similar experience.
Yeah, no, thanks for your thoughts, definitely. And I think the differentiated nowadays is the technological use, right? The platforms that have been created, that exist. I mean, Compass is a leader, obviously, in the world. Really,
they're amazing. Compass is so cool.
Incredible as far as technology, and obviously us in a boutique agency that we have here, we're kind of following on and doing the best we can to catch up with these shows and other things to reach out. And like you said, we love real estate and we love people, and we want to bring people together with the correct property and promote what we believe in. And what we believe in is what we're doing, as you do, and in our area here. I'm going to pass back to Wally because we want to ask you about one of your new listings, and we have some photos.
Thank you, Jonathan. So Joshua, for the show today, we want to ask you about your new listing that looks, by the way, amazing, which is located at 249 West Blithedale Avenue in Mill Valley, California. Please tell our viewers about it and your experience, why it's such a great property.
Well, 249 West Blithedale is it's its own, if you will, shelter-in-place sanctuary. It has a main house and a guest studio over the garage. It's a street-to-street lot. It's gated on both sides, so it's in a private driveway and two-car garage, and it was largely completely expanded and renovated in 2015 to be I call it contemporary transitional California modern house, with great, basically just timeless details, right? White oak floors and walnut cabinetry, quartz countertops. So the materials are timeless. The exterior all cedar, clear cedar, which is nice. There's no knots in it. That's a see-through double-sided fireplace, so it lights up at night on both sides, interior and exterior.
Very nice.
The magic about the property, though, besides the house itself and the open layout and the concrete floors and the radiant heat, and I could go on and on about it, the magic is it's about less than a mile flat walk down a picturesque street to downtown Mill Valley, and you can go to the Sweetwater and watch live music and restaurants and movies and and really experience what I call village living, right? And I'm a villager. I love to go down to the coffee shop. I love to say hi to people. And
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
so accessible. Yeah. And so the magic of that property is it sits in the redwood trees. So you're totally private. The trees light up at night. It's almost like your private estate, even though you're in a tight community spot right there. So it's a really incredible offering. Again, for that kind of indoor outdoor lifestyle, you can see that patio, and there's a triple slider that folds into the wall, slides into a wall, so there's no window frame at all. That I wish I was living there. Put it that way. It's a sweet spot.
Oh, it's a gorgeous house. Congratulations on that listing. I'm sure you're gonna do well with that one.
Thank you, thank you. It's my mission to sell it here shortly.
Oh, absolutely. Let me pass on to Jonathan.
We're going to try and help you with that, through our network. Hopefully we'll be able to, these strategic partnerships that we've been developing over the last couple of years with you and other of the top brokers in the US with Compass. It's really been an exciting adventure for us, to kind of get to know you and other people like you who are leaders in their area, in their communities, and, to co-market properties like this, on our database and do these kind of shows that we're doing now to kind of showcase what you're doing in your neighborhood, because we do believe that there's a lot of correlation between, especially Mill Valley, the part of California where you are, and a lot of California for us here. And there's a lot of, as we've been discussing over the last few years together, but there's a lot of things we can do together, synergies we can create, which we've created with our strategic partnerships. And thanks, yeah. No, we appreciate you being here today. We know you're busy. It sounds like you're really busy, which is really good.
Yeah.
We always like to hear that,
It's
right?
my favorite state is to be busy. Yeah, this is exciting to do these kind of shows and what have you. Believe it or not, I don't remember if I've ever done anything like this before, but it's exciting and fun to kind of put it out there and connect with people, especially nowadays. It's as we're obviously seeing less and less people face to face, and this is, let's say.
No, definitely. And the thing is as we've been doing, is to stay connected and create these partnerships, these strategic partnerships, and work together to bring everybody together. And a lot of times, as we were saying, the people that are in your area come here, and the people that are here are somewhere else, and they like to go to your area. So I think, as we've been finding, there's lots of synergies. And hey, it's good. It's good that we've been able to speak to you today. We appreciate it, and stay with us a couple more minutes as we finish up here. But we appreciate you being here and your time, and we're going to keep working together. I'm going to pass back to Wally just for some closing comments on his side, and then we'll close up today. But stay with us.
Sounds like
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Just as we were mentioning, we just hosting here today from Villa Luna Nueva. Please visit our website at RivieraPartnersRealty.com for more information. We have our virtual tour of the house. It's a spectacular property, and believe us, we want to stay here. We don't want to go anywhere else. Such a wonderful house.
Yeah, we'll be sharing all of this, and we put together a video at the end. So we're going to be sharing the featured property today from Joshua Deitch, Compass, Mill Valley, and here in Villa Luna Nueva, where we are today in Lagos del Mar in Punta Mita. We'll be sharing it on all of our social media platforms, both Joshua's and ours, through Riviera Partners Realty, Joshua's company, our personal RPR. Instagram accounts and Facebooks and all that too. So we'll continue marketing and doing this together, and stay tuned. Obviously, in the future, for next week, we'll have a new special guest. We'll be same time, same day, new place, and we'll be doing this all over again. So the idea is, again, to bring to you, our viewers, and anybody that likes to watch and enjoys real estate, some kind of different ideas from different places, without getting too into the weeds and political. In light of recent tragic events in the US and honestly around the world, we wanted to just say that from ourselves personally, our families and the companies that Wally and I own and represent, we stand together internationally and across borders in solidarity and support for equality across the board, without question. So thanks for watching again. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys watching us. We appreciate Joshua, your time. We'll see you again, same place, a different place, same time, same day, next week on Thursday, for a different location we'll be hosting. And again, follow Joshua on his social media will be posting all of this information. Joshua's listing in Mill Valley, California, and you can access all of his information there and our information at Riviera Partners Realty. Thanks again for watching. This is Jonathan Smart, Wally Lopez, Riviera Partners Realty. It's our new weekly series, International Luxury Real Estate Experts. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, Wally.
Thanks, Joshua.
Take care.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being our special guest.